Welcome back, everyone, to Showbiz India. And now it is my pleasure to welcome the very beautiful Pooja Kumar. Welcome to Showbiz India once again. You look gorgeous as always. It's nice to see you.
Thank you, Reshma. I'm really excited to be with you today. Thanks.
And how are you doing? This is a very tumultuous time in the world, and especially for all of us here in USA. How are you doing right now?
We're lucky. I think a lot of us should just thank our lucky stars that we've got places to be. I mean, we've got places that we can be 24/7, without a problem. I'm lucky that I'm okay financially. So I think that's a big thing for many people. They rely on their everyday income to survive. And so whether it's in India or whether it's in America, there's like the daily wage workers. So it's really tough on them. So I'm doing okay. I think we just have to take it in stride, and it's a wait and watch situation, which I think is tough for a lot of people. But I'm taking the time to read and, write, watch content. And I'm actually like having great conversations with people that I, didn't have before, right? Because people have a little bit more time now. So yeah, it's not too bad.
Wonderful. Well, you've always been multifaceted. You've been an actor, producer, you've been so busy. So I'm sure your creative juices are continuing to flow.
Well, that will never stop because, as artists, we have to continue to, create. I think also if we don't create, then it's like we feel stifled, and for writers or any creative, person, this is like the best time actually, because you actually have time where you're not thinking about all the other things that you have to do and really enhance your brain into thinking outside the box.
So Pooja, I follow you on all your social media, and I was very heartened to see that you are very pro the anti-hate Black Lives Movement. Of course, we all know after the unfortunate passing of George Floyd, the country has been in such turmoil and a lot of people are hurting. What is your viewpoint when you first heard about George Floyd's death?
It made me sad. I was so hurt that these four gentlemen could do something to another human being when their whole life, these police officers' life, is to, protect life, and they're taking it. And so I was questioning, and I'm questioning what other people are really thinking, that like, aren't the police supposed to be on the human side? Aren't they supposed to be the ones we go to when we're in a tough situation? Like, they have our back. And so I'm really appalled at like what happened. I'm sad, I'm annoyed, and I'm really sort of fed up with the way people are being treated, and it's about time that this movement happened. And I'll go back, and I think I mentioned this to you earlier, in 1924, so that America kept their homogeneity, only Northern and Western Europeans were allowed to come to this country. They were the only ones allowed to come in. And because of the civil rights movement, because of the Black community, they're the ones who kind of came out and said, no, we are citizens and we're people, so we should be treated that way. Then only in 1965, under the Immigration Act, you can come into this country regardless of your race, religion, color, it doesn't matter. So we have to thank the African-American and Black community for actually speaking out and sticking up for us. Because of them, the South Asian community is here today.
Absolutely, and you and I are part of that.
Yes.
Your parents came here, my parents came here. Had that not happened, we would not been able to live in USA and call it our home.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the general reaction from the South Asian community when you talk about this?
They're also sad, and they're also angry. I'm really happy that a lot of them have come out and spoken against what's happened, and have spoken against the regime, and have spoken against this atrocity that's happened. And we should come out and say something. because like I'm saying again, because of the Black and their riots and because of their community and because of how they had their civil rights movement, we're here today. We're here having these great opportunities and living great lives, having great jobs and living in lovely homes and driving nice cars and giving opportunities to each other and becoming entrepreneurs where we wouldn't have had that in India. So I think it's a must, and we must do it as a South Asian community and really speak out about this and really support this movement, because we know what it feels like to be oppressed. You know, we know what it feels like to be someone of a different color in a country that's predominantly white.
So what would you say are some of the problematic rhetoric that you have gotten from the South Asian community about racism, and how do you handle that? How do you educate people you think maybe of a mindset that is not what we want as an anti-hate movement?
I think that there's a lot of actionable items that I think we can do. You know, volunteer, you know, for the NAACP. You know, get 5 friends together and, you know, talk about a book about different races, about different cultures, you know, or get 5 friends together and watch a movie. You know, I can recommend so many great movies that, whether it's Malcolm X or it's, you know, Black Panther, there's another movie called Detroit, Black Klansman. I mean, if you can get 5 friends together and talk about these things, it won't seem like work. And at the same time, you're like educating each other and having an open mind. Because at the end of the day, I think when you have these dialogues and you talk about these things, your mind just expands. And the more exposure you have to all these sort of diverse people and diverse backgrounds, you're just going to be so more open-minded and not be so closed-minded about what you think. So I think it's really important that we have like things that we do. You know, we shouldn't think about this sort of movement as like work, but like think of it as like, hey, we're getting together and we're gonna like expand our horizons, you know, because that's how I think that we're gonna get away from the hatred and get more towards becoming, you know, more educated and have more love for each other.
So what would you suggest that the South Asian community can do, not just short term, but long term, to be an ally to the African American community?
I think we should join their movement. I think if we can go out and, you know, walk with them, you know, I'm not one to sort of make people do things, because, you know, if you can't walk or you can't protest and you can't do those things, that's totally fine. There's so many other things you can do, you know, volunteer at, you know, an African-American church, you know, kind of any of our South Asian organizations. If we have a function, let's tie up with the NAACP or the ACLU, you know, let's invite them also to our Diwali functions or Holy Night and have them participate with us. I mean, there's so many things that, you know, you can do. The other thing that I was also like making, you know, not making, but sort of emphasizing with people to do is that expand your friend circle. You know, we all have a tendency to kind of hang around with people that we're just sort of comfortable with, but like, if, you know, every 2 weeks you decide, hey, you know, I'm going to go out with 5 different friends with like, you know, different backgrounds. Why can't we do that as a South Asian community? You know, like have our like dinner parties and have our chalk parties and, you know, invite other people over so that they can be exposed to each other. You know, there's so many things that can be done. And so these are just a few of the things which I think could be sort of easily done, where you don't feel, oh my God, I've got to do something, you know, because I feel like after a while, right now, everyone is really excited and they want to do something, but like, how do we, like your point was, how do we do something long-term? So long-term is like when you can think of social things that you bring people together, and that's what's going to make it, you know, interesting.
On a difficult note, you know, what advice do you give to those who are trying to challenge their friends or families, maybe racist rhetoric, if they are any?
Oh gosh, I mean, it's really tough because, you know, as Asians, we are very opinionated. I mean, we have our certain way of thinking, and I know our parents have their certain way of thinking, and to change that is really difficult. But I think one of the things is that when you don't want to change people's thinking, you just want to enhance it and add new ideas to them. Because when you let them know that you're adding a new idea to their already idea, it's sort of almost like human psychology. They feel that, oh wait, maybe that's kind of interesting to think about, instead of sort of antagonizing them or sort of coming at them saying, well, no, you're wrong, you know, because they already have their way of thinking. So I think there's certain words you can use, sort of like, hey, why not think about it in this sort of terms, you know? The other thing that came to my mind was that, you know, with South Asians, you know, we're so caught up with one of the other stereotypes about being fair and lovely, you know? And that's something where, like, you know, my mother was like very fair and very beautiful. And I grew up, you know, people saying, oh, poor Pooja, you know, you didn't get your mother's color, you know, that's too bad, and all that. But you could use Fair and Lovely cream. And I'm like, what? Like, I can't even believe people would say that to me. But my mom made such a great effort of never making me feel that I was like less beautiful. Like, she instilled that confidence that it didn't matter, you know, what color you were. And that's something that I think as a South Asian community that, like, we have to get over this whole thing about being fair and lovely. Yeah, you are pretty. I mean, there's no doubt. But then, like, brown is beautiful too, you know, and we should just embrace that. And so that, once we kind of get over those things, I think that is going to subconsciously and change people's mind. But that's so ingrained in us as South Asians, like for generations. You know, every marriage proposal is like, I want a woman who's fair, you know. But I'm like, wait a second, we're Indian and we're brown, so not everyone is going to be fair. But again, you know, it goes back to, like, it's not just about that color is what we have to get rid of, because that's what we see visually first. And once we start getting over them, it's going to make a huge, huge difference in our lives.
So very well said. And you are not only beautiful, you're gorgeous from the inside out, Pooja.
Thank you.
So switching over to a lighter note, after all this is over, the quarantine's over, what can we expect from you work-wise?
So I have, so I'm working on a short film, which is going to be releasing very soon. I was going to release it earlier this year, and then obviously this whole situation happened, so everything's kind of on hold. I'm also developing a romantic comedy. So I'm really excited about that. I think it'll be interesting because it's about a sort of a South Asian woman living in America and having to deal with arranged marriage. So yeah, so I'm working on that. And then I'm supposed to be shooting 2 movies, but right now it's kind of hard for us to say how we're going to shoot them. They haven't given any, like, you know, sort of set time or anything like that. And I'm a little hesitant because unless they have sort of these, you know, good health measures in place, you know, it's going to be really difficult to go on set and actually be comfortable. And it's not just about me, I feel, you know, it's about, like, what if I have it and I'm going to give it to someone? Like, I would feel terrible, like, if that happened. And that is just not good. So we'll see. I mean, I'm supposed to be shooting, but it's
in India or here?
One is in India and one is here. In India is going to be tough, again, like, to get on a flight and go over there. I don't know. I mean, you know, it's really tough. And which I feel really bad for people in India right now. It's just, they have no idea what's going to happen, and they have there's no testing over there. I mean, that whole country is a whole nother gamut of things we could talk about, and we'll see.
Pooja, thank you so much for coming out and speaking on this very important topic. And we look forward to catching up with you again real soon.
Yes, thank you, Reshma. I'm so happy you're doing this because, you know, your voice coming out and, like, speaking to people really influences the whole community. So thank you.
Well, thank you, and stay safe.
You too. Take care.